Let me check if the QA. So can everyone see my PowerPoint? Okay, cool. So I will just start now. Hello everyone from masterclass. My name is Wu Xiao. You can also call me Ling, which is my developer name. I'm the CEO of White Matrix, and thank you for you guys to join the masterclass with us. I guess. Okay, cool. So I will just start now. I think there's something wrong, maybe? I'm not sure. I guess some of you just met me on the open ceremony. Today, my topic is in short, and it's Blockchain 101. Though it is a fundamental lesson today, I want to show you the big picture in the blockchain, and I want to show you the vision of blockchain too. So today, our topic is blockchain, technology, innovation, and thinking. I gave this topic in Chinese for many times last year. However, this is my first time to do it in English. Maybe there are some words that are not really accuracy translation, but I hope you can understand the majority of the content. For those of you who maybe missed the webinar on the open ceremony, I will just briefly use 3 sentences to introduce myself. I'm currently the director of Yangtze River Blockchain International Innovation Center, and I'm the CEO of White Matrix. I received my master and bachelor degrees from University of Alberta. I published 5 papers last year. I'm a coder, a app designer, and I'm excited to do research in blockchain area. I will split today's topic into 3 sections. First, I will do a brief introduction to blockchain technology. In the second part, we will talk about some blockchain innovation projects, including our dApps and some innovative projects in blockchain field. At last, we will discuss the blockchain future, how to understand the sociology significance of blockchain in the contemporary society. And before we start, I want to mention that I will not be able to see the Discord or the QA before I finish the topic because my computer may be lag during if I do the multi-processing part. And we will finish the whole lectures first, and then I will check with the QA and also the contents in the Discord. So the first is the brief introduction to blockchain technology. I agree with this one. In 2015, The Economist published an article named The Promise of the Blockchain, the Trust Machine. It tells the operating logic behind Bitcoin and blockchain and the roles trust machine can play in the future. I agree on this article, and we will start from this point. There are many big institutions have expressed their opinions on the current status and development of blockchain. As I just mentioned, The Economist published an article about blockchain working scenarios. They define blockchain as a machine for creating trust. Also, the CEO of Nasdaq Board said it will redefine the whole global financial economy. And we see JP Morgan reporting that Bitcoin will become an alternative to gold as part of household investment. And we see IMF chief commented that the blockchain will bring incredibly convenient to the people. It can generate trust and identify players for anyone who needs these functions. So we see many big guys comments on blockchain. It is so hot, and all the developers and users around the world love blockchain today. Our first question will be, blockchain 101, what is blockchain? So blockchain is a new application mode of computer technology, such as distributed data storage, peer-to-peer transmission, consensus mechanisms, encryption algorithms. It is essential to decentralized distributed database. Anyone can become a node of the huge network as long as they set up their own server and access to the blockchain world. So usually when I talk about the definition to students, they become confused and totally get lost. They usually said, "Hey Lin, what are you talking about? Would you please explain it in a short and clear way? Maybe give us an example." So I give public lectures to many universities, and the students in the universities are much more interested in dating than blockchain. So I use an example called "From Dating to Blockchain." They are much more interested in this topic. Suppose you are a girl and your boyfriend said to you, "I love you forever." Then you send the sentence to your classmates, parents, and a circle of friends. For example, you can send the message on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Your boyfriend can no longer deny because everyone knows the facts. And then you give some of the related people above some tips like minor fees. I'm not sure if I use tips correct because in China we use red packet in WeChat or something, but I will just leave it as tips now. And the sentence, "I love you forever," the time when the sentence is spoken, the object of the speech, and etc. are packaged together to form an information package and synchronized in a block. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. are nodes. If your boyfriend does not admit to saying it, you can find this evidence and confront and kick off your boyfriend node out of your relation network. All your relations know your boyfriend is a playboy and no one want to date with him anymore. This is kind of the trust machine, right? For example, we can summarize 4 important features of blockchain. First, there is a public electronic ledger records all the transactions. Second is consensus. Consensus is very important. Consensus must be a mechanism that can recognize and fair to everyone. For example, if the picture or the sentence is different from Twitter and Facebook, maybe the consensus is not working and your boyfriend may deny all the facts, right? The third one is node. The ledger is not stored in a central institution such as a bank or database. It has countless copies which are distributed and stored in every computer on the blockchain network. And each computer is called a node. And at last, as we talk about a node, we will have many nodes in the network rather than one centralized node. And it is a multi-center and it is not controlled by a central organization. So we can see some interesting features about blockchain technology, such as decentralization, collective maintenance, independent address, data transparency, and immutable to hack. If we combine all the characteristics of blockchain, you can see immutable, traceability, privacy protections, independence, and we combine them together, we can see the whole graph of the blockchain. I think maybe we have a general understanding about blockchain now. The next question will be, what can blockchain do? So we see blockchain is a very unique technology nowadays. But what can blockchain do is very important because we need to answer these questions to convince people to understand and to use blockchain technology. The whole story begins with rebuilding the financial systems today, which is kind of similar to our whole theme, right? So let's start at today's financial systems. Imagine a day that there are no banks. How could we then create an alternative to the current banking system? Can we invent a better system? There are 3 disadvantages of today's financial systems. I summarize them. Maybe they are not all of them, but these 3 are really shortcomings, and we can consider them as the first part we want to solve in our financial system. The first one is high transaction fees. The second one is high trust cost. The third one is risk of centralized storage. So the first I want to talk about is the high transaction fees. Suppose Jim want to transfer $100 to Bob. He might only receive $98 because $2 transaction fees are paid to the $2 of transaction fees are paid to the bank. It looks not a high amount, but hundreds of thousands of transactions happened every day. It is a considerable amount. Let's look at the data. In 2015, these major big financial institutions earned more than $6 billion only from ATM and overdraft transaction fees. So if we consider hundreds and thousands of transactions, the transaction fees are really high. And also, the other things I want to mention is if we want to do transactions between countries and we want to send money overseas, the transaction fees will go really high and the time will delayed when we do these kind of transactions. The second one will be high trust costs. So banks will pay a very high trust cost in order to prevent double spending and account book tampering problems. In this situation, there are a lot of trust transfer costs directly across banks, and the cost and the effectiveness of manual reconciliation are both high trust costs. So I remember in China, I'm not sure, or maybe also in Canada. In China and also Canada, the transactions between banks, they also need some manual checkpoint. They need to do some checksum or something to manually to ensure the system's number are correct. I mean, in the blockchain systems, we can solve everything just by the distributed ledger, right? And the final case is the central storage is at risk. Bank will also go bankrupt too. There is a potential of financial crisis and crash due to depression and financial reserve banking is like what happening in 2008 United States. The fact is that the financial organizations and the banks lend their money, right? But suddenly, when people cannot afford to pay them back, which create a huge financial crisis, and that will affect everyone associated with it. So many people lost their jobs and their monies in 2008 in United States. And also no one want to take that risk because we deposit our money into banks and we do not want the banks that you can no longer take your money back because we got a bankrupt. That will be a very, how to say that will be a very critical and vital problems, even the social problems in nowadays. And so here is the paper about Bitcoin. Do you know who is this guy? He's the creator of Bitcoin and blockchain. He published this paper in 2008. So at almost the same time when the bankrupt happened in United States, Bitcoin has been introduced through a white paper by a man called Satoshi Nakamoto. It sounds like Japanese, but no one knows who he is until now. In this white paper, Satoshi Nakamoto first introduced a peer-to-peer electronic cash systems called Bitcoin and describes its fundamental technique, blockchain. Now, let's have a look at how blockchain solves these issues we mentioned before. Okay, another quotation. A blockchain from the first day of birth is to lead us to discover the innovation that defines the rules. This one is important. I summarize that in Chinese because I think this is a vital point I want to present to all the students in the universities. They need to do some deep thinkings to understand why this sentence is so important and why these things will lead the blockchain systems to the future. So let's see today's financial systems first. Its centralized architecture is destined to have some shortcomings. For understand this, let's take these 4 issues itself. The first is the issue is the centralized power. Almost all the financial and authorities in the systems out of today are controlled by a central government authority, and it could be a federal body. Also, they have private ledgers and they are prone to hacks, and they will face double spending. So centralized power, centralized storage, private ledgers, prone to hacks and double spending. And we will see how Bitcoins try to solve these problems. So what did Bitcoin do? With Bitcoin, the cash system is called decentralized and distributed everywhere among everyone who is a part of it. It keeps going. So assume tomorrow you move into the Bitcoin systems, you are part of it and hold a certain power that all the people as well. So Bitcoin uses a distributed ledger technology to decentralize the storage. When we transfer from centralized storage to decentralized storage, when a node is crashed, or when one institution or one when one institution or one bank is crashed, that will no longer cause the whole system to be failure. Apart from the most of the banking and financial organizations follow up the private ledgers, the only thing you're aware when you put your money into something is whether or not there's a certain transaction that you have made as a person or such. You have no idea whether someone has stolen some money or the bank itself has invested your money to somewhere. So this one is another issue in private ledgers. And let's see what will Bitcoin do to solve this issue. With the Bitcoin systems, the ledger itself is public. So this itself distributed the ledger to everyone. The entire blockchain is open and clear. Everything who become part of the blockchain network gets the complete and entire copy of the whole blockchain. And so because everyone got the ledger and we can check if our money is correct in the systems, and no one can change our account book, even they are banks or the centralized organizations. The third one we want to solve the problem is prone to hacks. Nowadays, banks and the financial organizations faces the challenge of hackings. It does happen that there are functional systems have been hacked and certain data has leaks. Certain amount has also been stolen from the account in some past events. Let's see what blockchain will do. Blockchain use a kind of interesting way because the blockchain system is completely immutable to hack. Any transactions take place cannot be modified ahead. Even you try to modify it, the blockchain systems is built so securely that the false transaction will be rejected totally. And let's moving forward. The final question will be, the current digital platform has faced the challenges of double spending. With the blockchain systems, double spending is not possible. This is basically because of some blockchain systems and itself structured and created. How to explain that? So behind the blockchain, we have a consensus algorithms that will prevent the whole systems to be double spending. Each node and each ledger will be consistency because of the consensus algorithms. So when the double spend event occurs, Other nodes have a copy of the whole blockchain and they can refuse to upload the transactions to the blockchain. That's the way how we prevent double spending in the blockchain systems. The transaction will not be double spent because the consensus mechanisms will guarantee this one. Yep. So let's try to figure out the innovations inside Bitcoin. There are several innovations of Bitcoin. For example, it is the first digital currency. It uses cryptographic encryption method to create and manage account. It creates an electronic distributed ledger Bitcoin, and the ledger bookkeeping is updated by everyone solving mathematical problems. I think we will go through the whole mathematical problems later in the course to let you know why we need to solve the mathematical problems to keep the mining process. So let's see. Blockchain technology has also moved forward all the way and started its own journey. And we see nowadays many applications have been created in this new architecture, which is decentralized applications. I will show you some blockchain innovations today, and I hope that will inspire maybe some of you to build your own dApps. Let's take a look at some innovation today. So I will try to show you a little trivial experiment by ourselves. The first one I want to show you is a decentralized application. It is a game. It is called Cell Evolution. Cell Evolution is a game, and it is also my first achievement in the decentralized world. The whole gameplay will divide into two periods. The first one is pre-chain puzzle gameplay. The second one will be on-chain social gameplay. So in the pre-chain puzzle gameplay, each player will try to cultivate their own cells, and they can do mutation, they can do sleep, they can do evolution. They can do many icons. They can do many options to cultivate their own cells. But the interesting part will come after when they finish this game. They will upload their own cells to the blockchain, and the blockchain uses a smart contract to define a world. So many players will upload their own cells into the world, and when the world is unbalanced, the world will be destroyed. This is an anonymous social game. There are players chasing higher scores, which means they will no longer care anything about the world. They will just upload their best scores. There are players in group corporations. When they find the world is unbalanced, they will try to fix and save the world. There are creators, there are destroyers, and all kind of the individuals together build the social and the decentralized games. And actually, the interesting part is that this is kind of a social experiment, right? And when we try to figure out what kind of types of all the players, and we see most of the players want to destroy the world. They do something like to insert some extreme values and cause the world to be unbalanced, and they want to destroy the whole world. That is kind of interesting. And the second part is also one game we create, and this one is created in Sega Game Jam. It is one of the world's biggest game hackathons, and our CTO and I together build these games in in 48 hours. I think. I mean the first version, the MVP version of this game is built up in 48 hours. And the main background of this story is an adventure in the Middle Age. It describes a soul's retrospective experience. The lonely soul wanders between life and death and lost in dilemma of good and evil. The player is no longer a player in the game, but a writer. So actually in this game, I'm not sure if you can see my mouse. I will just try to explain. This game is like a book. When you try to read the book, there are characters and the pictures are fancy. I mean, we build up the pictures by AI. And the pictures will try, the characters inside the book will try to interact with you. And when you pull this book from the top right corner and the bottom right corner will cause different options. It's just like you talk with someone. When you when you try to use your try to flip the book from the top right corner, you will do option one. And when you try to flip this book from the bottom right corner, you will do option two. And the interesting part also comes in the end of the game. So when you finish this game, such as when you died, and the player you just created will insert into this book. And Last Trip combines the characteristics of blockchain. Every journey of the player will upload the blockchain and become a NPC, affecting the development of the whole whole stories. Let me introduce you the interesting part. So when I act in this game, characters can be add into the book permanently. And this is just like the block mining, right? You can match with your game character from yesterday, from the day before yesterday. You can match the characters with your friends. And the characters can try to challenge you. They can try to deceive you. And they may also can give you some guidebooks. So the interesting part is like a crowdsourcing or a group intelligence or something, swarm intelligence or something. So every players in the decentralized world will create the whole stories together. This is kind of interesting. So I talk about two games I created in the decentralized world before, and our flagship is also the Chain ID, right? So I will try to do a brief introduction to our company and the Chain ID. So White Matrix is a technology company specialized in research and development of blockchain middleware technology and a global developer ecosystem. And our core product is Chain ID. So Chain ID is a cloud-based integrity development environment that can help the development of a smart contract. So with Chain ID, you can try to build some decentralized applications such as games, DeFi, NFT, and some other applications inside the decentralized world. And the Chain ID is totally free. And nowadays, we have already helped the developers from more than 100 countries, and we have compiled more than 3.5 million contracts and stands as one of the leading cloud-based ID platforms in the crypto space. And I think in the later courses, we will try to use the Chain ID to help you to build your own dApps. Maybe that is a game, maybe that is a DeFi, maybe that is a crypto arts. Next, I will show you two major directions of the blockchain innovations today. The first one is more about the consortium blockchain. I will summarize this one as information synchronization across trust subjects. And in China, because we have the new infrastructure constructions, so consortium blockchains technology is more likely in the consortium blockchain area. And the second direction is blockchain native innovations. We use code to define rules. First, I will give you some examples inside the consortium blockchain field. So synchronization of information across trust subjects will reduce the marginal cost of the users. I will give you two examples inside the consortium blockchain part. The first one is the medical traceabilities. So the whole stories come from this. Some rich people in poor areas, they need to transfer their treatment because they want to transfer to other hospitals or something. Each patient owns their own data rights. This is for sure, right? And inside their electronic blockchain systems, they can secure, they can sign and they can encrypt their own blood type, allergies, medical records, and surgery records. And they sign with their own private keys and encrypt the information and publish the information on the consortium blockchain. And the doctors can give the electronic medical records signature to the patient and provide them a private key. After they transfer to another hospital, when they talk to their doctors, they can provide their own private keys to access to their own data. And that will help the doctors from the new hospital to get a quick understanding of what's happening about this patient. This one is very important because actually the systems between two hospitals, they are not connected and they cannot do data synchronizations nowadays. We can imagine that each hospital is an independent island because they cannot provide the patient's information to another hospital. There will cause some privacy problems, and that is very dangerous in many cases. But they can use blockchain technologies to provide the electronic information to the patient itself because patient got their rights to their own data, and the patient can physically transfer to different hospitals and provide their own private keys to access to their own data and to help them to do the treatment. Also, this one will also help them to protect their own privacies because inside the new hospital, only doctors can access and can know their own data rights. The new hospital will not have a database to store all the information about the patient's records. And this project is a consortium blockchain powered by United Nations Department of Health. Because the traditional cloud database solutions may cost more marginal cost, that is why we use blockchain in these cases. The second one is called judicial evidence. I'm not sure if we have the same situation in Africa, but in China, we have some judicial evidence that we want to store or deposit inside some official government notary office. Yeah. Now, Beijing and Hangzhou have their own internet courts that will save the marginal cost. You do some physical applications and do some physical notarizations or something. And inside the notary office, the notarization can be carried out at a low cost because they can use the same logic. You can provide with your private key and the file the file you provided will have a hash that will make sure this is the same evidence when you face some lawsuit. And in the internet court, they can compare the hash functions and to ensure the evidence is correct. And in this case, the clients can deposit more quickly and at a lower cost. The traditional evidence deposit and the evidence collection schemas have more marginal costs because they may spend more money because more hands are in and they cannot use the systems to deal with all the process. But with blockchain technologies, everything was solved and it is much more easy to do that. Actually, we see a kind of decoupling nowadays. So from technology decoupling to cognition decoupling. So we see consortium blockchain and the public blockchain are totally different nowadays. For some national infrastructure constructions, we may need some consortium blockchains. I think this is a similar situation we may face in Africa too. But for some public innovations, such as decentralized applications, such as decentralized finance and some crypto arts, maybe we need some public blockchains. That will cause the technology decoupling. The consortium and the public chain technology stacks are fully decoupled nowadays, and the research directions and visions diverge nowadays. This, if it took too long, if this one takes too long, the cognition decoupling will also happen. The perspective of understanding blockchain at consortium and public chain is separate from the cognition of cutting-edge technology, and this will make the whole world to be decoupled. I mean, the whole decentralized world. There will be two parts. One part is consortium blockchain, one part will be public blockchain. We have no solutions, but so nowadays we will just pursue different directions inside the decentralized world. And now, after I explain all the things in the consortium blockchain area, I will try to introduce some magic inside the public chain. I use one sentence from one of my favorite science fiction writer, Arthur Clarke. So any sufficiently advanced technology is distinguishable from magic. This one is really interesting because we see really magic things inside the decentralized world in the public chain area. So for example, we see Compound and Uniswap. In the decentralized finance ecosystems, there are also excellent projects that continue to stand out. Compound is a leading project, attract a lot of deposit by its unique design. And Uniswap is an exchange project, use AMM technology. There are several tokens can be borrowed and landed on Compound. It's just like a bank on the blockchain. It uses smart contracts to deal with the majority logic behind the systems. The total supply number is really huge. They are holding nearly 7 billion digital assets nowadays. I'm not sure if you can see this one clearly, but maybe you can check with the number later on the point. Compound is like a decentralized banks, and it absorbs many financial assets and digital assets inside from the whole world to do lending and borrowing. So they are just like the decentralized bank. Yeah. And when we want to explain why Compound is so successful, maybe we can analyze the whole process. So we want to put bank inside the stage 1.0 because what a bank need to do to spread out, they need to lease the business premises, right? They need to hire more personnel and they absorb savings and lendings. These are the marginal cost what a bank will do nowadays. For example, when a new bank is created, they need to rent for the place, they need to hire more bankers, they need to hire for more employees to do the banking systems. And what they do is the only way they can generate profit, which is absorb savings and lend the money. And in the stage 2.0, we have some internet bank. So I suppose most internet bank serve personal finance, which means there are some internet applications and they have their own traffic and they can show their advertisement to all the users. And the users may interested in to generate some profits from the internet banks and they store their money inside the internet bank and they generate their own profit. So for the internet bank, they do not need to pay the rent anymore because they do not need the business premises around the world. What they need to do is use internet to connect to all the users around the world. But what they need to do is they do need to hire more people. They will need some AI algorithms to help them to do the risk management, which means they need more software engineers and data scientists. At this place, although they save some marginal cost, but they still need to hire more people. And the final business models is the same. They absorb more savings and lend the money and to generate a profit. So in stage 3.0, what we believe in the future is decentralized finance. Nowadays, decentralized finance provides services to geeks and old money. What they do is they use smart contract behind the systems. And there are some characteristics of blockchain and smart contract can really save the marginal cost for all the financial systems. That is, we know when smart contract is deployed on the blockchain, it is immutable to hack and it is immutable to change. So nowadays, for the decentralized finance, they do not need to pay the rent anymore. They do not need to hire more people. They lend one transaction of the money is the same marginal cost as 1 million transactions. All the things is still by the smart contract. They do not need more people. They do not need to more place. They just stay and absorb savings and do the lendings. This is very interesting because we see compound absorb all the digital assets and financial savings from old money nowadays. Because when the old money enters the decentralized world, they also may need to buy some cryptos such as Bitcoins and Ethereums. But inside the decentralized world, they say that they cannot generate profits because for the old money, they usually have their bankers to provide them profits every day. But in the decentralized world, there's no banking anymore. That's why when compound and decentralized come out, all the old money were hyped and they try to invest in these decentralized banks. This one is interesting. And what we try to understand is DeFi define its own financial rules. This rules is not defined by bankers or governors. This one is defined by code, which is code is law. Let me introduce more about Uniswap. So Uniswap is a leading DeFi project that uses smart contract to automate transactions. And we see Uniswap use the design of AMM. Everybody can easily become a liquid provider. And the fee earned by the trading will distribute it to all the liquid provider. So actually what I want to show you is that there are already 60 million transactions are happened on Uniswap. This is very shocking. I mean, in 2008, this project is just started, and nowadays there are over 60 billion transactions happened in this DeFi project. Another interesting fact that may shocking you is these 60 billion transactions is based on about 500 lines of code on Ethereum. I mean, 500 lines of code. This is not complex. The core logic of this DeFi project is only one line of mathematical equations. We will try to go through with that later, I think. Yeah, we will go through with that later. But this one is really shocking. I mean, for these 60 million transactions, they will get the fees that about 0.3% each transactions. And the whole project was highly rocketed this year. I mean, all the transactions are happening nearly into 2020s. That's why the whole DeFi ecosystems is really productive this year. And let's go back to CryptoKitties and First Supper. I think I tried to explain non-fungible tokens on the open ceremony. For example, CryptoKitties is one of the most popular dApps as a dApp game on Ethereum, right? And I told you it is developed by Canadian studio Axiom Zen, and it allows people to purchase, collect, breed, and sell virtual cats. So actually, behind these virtual cats, they have the smart contract behind the systems, and each cat will have different unsigned. Uh, the number is 256 unsigned int. This is the gene of the cat, and because the gene of this cat is so unique, that means each CryptoKitty is unique on the blockchain. And yeah, when I want to explain what is non-fungible tokens, I use the example of the money, right? Fungible tokens means that each token is exchangeable, such as if I owe you one Bitcoin, I can pay you back with another Bitcoin. But for non-fungible tokens, each CryptoKitties and each non-fungible token is unique. For example, if I lend you my CryptoKitty and you cannot pay me back with another CryptoKitties, the two kitties are not the same. Each kitty is unique. You cannot use another kitty to do the equal swap, right? And because of the non-fungible tokens, we see many crypto arts happen this year. This is also very interesting because they also use code to define rules. I will try to use the First Supper as an example. So First Supper is an NFT crypto artwork that has many modules. I think crypto arts, I think the First Supper has composite of 22 layers and 13 artists collaborate together to create the whole pictures. What is special and unique in this crypto art? So each creator can write a code to interact with these crypto arts. Each module inside this crypto art is changeable. Their state can be changed. I mean, the whole image is a dynamic image. The whole artwork is no longer mutable. The whole is no longer immutable. The whole crypto artwork is dynamic growing and dynamic changing. This is so interesting because, you know, for this kind of crypto artwork, all the regulation and all the definition is not defined by some great artwork or the masters, artwork masters. They are defined by the crypto artist and the crypto community. And yeah, we call this area is programmable art. This is a new area and a new direction inside the contemporary society's artist world. No one from the old world can justify and can define the regulation inside the programmable art. The new field of programmable art is being gradually established by crypto artists. This is why we say the blockchain innovation is just like magic nowadays. There's a graph that we compare the centralized world and the decentralized world. So we see there are coinage, which is the core rights for each countries. We see the coinage will be protected by army, politics, and many other things, maybe bankers or something. But in the decentralized world, the first coinage is Bitcoin, right? We use code to do minting. And the second thing I want to mention is Ethereum. Ethereum is the world computer, which means you can write programs on blockchain after Ethereum was established. So inside Ethereum, we will use Solidity to do smart contract. And because of the smart contract, we can do many decentralized finance, which is similar to the centralized world. We see in the centralized, we have banks, we have exchange, we have insurance, we have futures, and all these financial services, they need permissions from the governors and from the countries to do all the financial services. But in the decentralized world, the code is law. If you can write smart contract, you can do exchange just like Uniswap. You can create a bank just like Compound. You can do some more magic things such as synthesis, which is you can alchemate different assets together to create a new one. You can use balance, curve, make DAO. You can do many things inside the decentralized world because of Solidity and Ethereum. What I want to mention is that Ethereum is so unique because this is the first time all the coders from different countries can collaborate together to compile and execute their own programs. No one have reached the same thing before. Even we have GitHub, we have online chat rooms, we have the internet, but no technology have do the similar things because this is the first time we can compile and create the programs inside the world consensus. And okay, this is I think this is the whole stories of part 2, the blockchain innovation today. Although everything sounds really interesting inside the decentralized world and every project sounds like magic, but what I want to tell you is all the projects I talk about, they have already happened. Whether you know or you do not know, they have already happened. So this is why the decentralized world is so amazing and so attractive. So in part 3, we will try to thinking some blockchain futures. We see blockchain's attempt in the financial industry, and we have many critical thinkings, and they said we are useless, right? They said blockchain technology is not landing, is not practical, is procedure science, and they can only be tampered with, and it is useless. And it can only do data traceabilities. I mean, we received a lot of criticisms last year, especially in the consortium blockchain area. What I want to say is, I quote from Wild Oscar, "We're all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at stars." We see some blockchain attempts in the financial industries, actually in clearing and settlement, in cross-border payment, supply chain finance, and ABS. We also see blockchain used in digital bills, credit investment, asset custody, and user identity. But what I want to mention is all blockchain attempts, this is an opinion I have to justify. This one is the only what I think about. It is not some facts or some summarize from all the people. This is just an opinion from myself. All blockchain attempts in the future, in the financial industry, are just very small and cautious attempts. Why I say that? Because we check with Libra. So Facebook has also made some attempts in the blockchain field. Libra is a blockchain launched by Facebook. It can also support smart contracts and cross-border payments. And we see some properties inside the Facebook Libra. We have internet head companies, and it has the largest population in the world. I think they have 2.6 billion users around the world. Nearly 2 men on the earth will be one. There will be one man as their users. and they own their own rules and systems, and they try to snatch the coinage. Of course, they want to use the code to do mint, right? So Libra has a certain first mover advantages, and at the same time rely on the backing of Facebook. It has a huge user populations. We see giant of internet companies are pulling a package of multinational companies to see the future place for next 10 years. But I still think financial is a small step. It's a small step. What we aimed and what the blockchain will change is to rebuilding the whole world in the future. Why I say that? Because the virtual world can avoid mutual separation of stocks. There's an interesting fact we need to know that the overall resource on Earth are limited. This is a fact. I mean, all the things on the Earth are limited, and it is not infinity resource. There are only limited resource on the Earth. And what we want, if we want to live happier, we need an increment market, right? And there are some internet applications and internet colonizations nowadays. Um, but uh, but also the resources are limited nowadays. What we can change in the future is from finite to infinite, and we require a kind of upgrading technology. The virtual world is one solution. For example, we can repeat all the experiments, such as the physical experiment, inside the virtual world without cost of any actual cost. If we have VR and AR, and we can repeat all the physical experiment for millions of times, and all the consumption is code and electronics. We do not need to consumption any resources on the earth. And code is powerful and has endless possibilities nowadays. In the recent years, with no major technology breakthroughs, the world has gradually fallen into a shadow of anxiety, and the political tension and the economic depression implies that we are gradually returned to the situation of separate stocks. So this is a situation we face nowadays. What will the solution be? I will just give you solutions I think about. Maybe they are not correct, but this is the solutions I want to provide a vision, and maybe that will inspire you to think deeper. In the future, more than 90% of human activities will be in a virtual world. Maybe this is a solution that the virtual world can solve the problem to certain content, to certain extent. We see Cyberpunk, we see The Matrix. Actually, I'm a big fan of The Matrix. That is why our company is called White Matrix. People in the future may live in a virtual world, and inside the virtual world, we have infinity resources. Because we are all coders, right? We know when we create a digital Earth, and if we use a for loop, we can create 100 millions of digital worlds, digital Earths. That will be no consumptions. So in the future, whether it is scientific research, art, teaching, experimentation, all the things are not limited by physical rules, can help the people to breaking the rules of physical world and will guide us in new directions. Why I say that? Because we see many work we do nowadays can be replaced by AI or the computer technologies, such as Stack and his AI in Iron Man collaborate together, then they can build some innovations really quickly. And also even top scientific research teams may need database and AI and virtual world technologies in the future to help them to do further discover. Suppose we are inside that kind of civilization. I mean, 90% of human activities will act inside the virtual world. In such a virtual civilizations, economy and currency are definitely very important, but the rules and the systems are more critical inside this world. For example, laws. Actually, if 90% of human activities are in the decentralized world and the crypto and the virtual world, laws are really important because nowadays laws are more like the violence and the physical punishment or something. But if someone is hacked and someone doing some bad things inside the virtual world, what we can do to limit them, what we can do to help them, what we can do to stop them. We have one interesting examples from Kevin Mitnick. It is top hackers in United States. Actually, he hacked into NASA and FBI when he is 13 and 15 respectively, I think. And when he was get caught, the lawyer, not the lawyer, the law banned him from get connected with any digital products. So banning someone from internet in the future may be the same thing like exile in Siberia today. I mean, nowadays, if we cannot touch the cell phone, if we cannot touch computers, that will be a really punishment. But in the future, maybe 90% of human activities are in the virtual world. If we ban someone, that is boom, really, really a great punishment, I mean. So thinking of rules, systems, and consensus, blockchain technology can help law enforce transparency, and smart contract can enforce laws to execute it in the virtual world. There are no restrictions on violence organizations, and they need code to enforce the rules of credibility and the sociology of blockchain, and the meaning of blockchain is shown here. What I want to present is we need to find out the sociology significance of blockchain, and that will guide us to discover more in the future. The matter of consensus has never been absent in human history, and this part I will try to skip. I will try to skip because this part is not that important, and I want to show you something cool. The birth of blockchain technology actually creates a possibility for the future. We can use code or smart contract or anything in the future. I mean, the same thing. Establish a set of openness and transparency, automate execution. And the whole system can help everyone can monitor it and to check the law executed in a right way in the future. This will form the cornerstone of the future virtual civilization. This is really the sociology significance of blockchain by my understanding. The sociology significance of blockchain can guide us in the future because this will help us understand why blockchain is important nowadays. The development of technology has different meanings in physics and sociology. This is what I try to explain. So when the first day I get into University of Alberta, and I try to pick up a deep learning course. The deep learning course, yeah. When I pick up the first deep learning course, and what my supervisor and my lecturers told me that we will use AI to identify the type of fish. I mean, they told me AI can recognize salmon and sea bass. On the left, there are salmons, and on the right, there are sea bass. I mean, why? I mean, AI is so useless by my understanding if they can just identify fish. I mean, the fisherman can identify them by eyes, and they are not interested. They are not interesting. But my supervisor and my lecturers told me that what is important is we believe in sociology meaning of AI. We believe that in the future, there will be a bunch of robots that can help us to do cook, and the human can obtain countless labor. And there are no consumptions on any hands in the future. We can use robot man to do the same thing. That's the sociology meaning of AI. And that's why we can keep going and to establish the whole pathway of AI, even though they can only identify fish nowadays. The similar things also for the aerospace technologies. You know, we spend a lot of money to do the rockets, and we go to the moon, we collect some dust, and we analyze, we see the dust is no different from the Earth. But why we need to do that? Because we're looking forward to discovering more planets just like Earth. They have more resources. I mean, the similar stories was told in Western, I think. If we find another big areas and they have many resources, then all the mankind on Earth can be very happy because we have more resources. And also at the same time expanding the human civilization in distributed manner to prevent devastating attacks, because some comet coming, when some giant comet coming, we have no weapons to defend our Earth nowadays. But if we can decentralize our civilizations, maybe in the future we will not be devastating just like nowadays, because we have decentralized our civilizations. So what I want to talk about is when the ultimate goal of technology has meaning in sociology, so every bit of effort made today has become meaningful. Today, we have VR, AR, and brain computing technology are all under continuous development. I cannot imagine a future without blockchain. In the treatment of blockchain technology, we should not be constrained by existing cognition and external bias to limit our imaginations, limit our innovations, or even extinguish our ambitions to change the world. So finally, we are all in the gutter, but some of us are looking at stars. And that's it for today. Thank you for your time. I see a lot of QAs now. Let me check. Let me see. Okay, this one is, I think it's good. How do you know that? How do you think that the development of quantum computing will affect the fundamental secure? Too many questions. Wait a minute. Shor's algorithms. Okay, I think, Clark, you are come from computer science background. Actually, I think the quantum computing will not that kind of deeply affect the whole decentralized world, because I didn't think the quantum computing is that kind of mature nowadays. I mean, I'm not expert in that area. I may be wrong, but that is my understanding. Yeah. If I don't have any coding background now, hope it's not too late to be the training. Of course, Nicholas, I think even if you do not have any coding background, that will be fine, because our friend Shui, which is our CTO, and Ile will teach you step by step and help you to build your own smart contract and build your own decentralized applications or even DeFi. No worry about that. Transfer cost on Ethereum, not Bitcoin, is very high and it's keep increasing. As volume of transaction on the network increase, won't this impact the use of cryptocurrency, especially if price exceeds the cost of bank transfer? Um, I think this one is interesting, but what I want to say is things changed. I mean, technology will push the world forward. For example, in 1995, the internet is really expensive in China. When we want to download several music, we will spend hundreds of money, and hundreds of money in that days is really expensive. But we see that nowadays, even if I download some movies, that will not cost much. I mean, if the idea is correct, we will find ways to figure out maybe layer two, maybe we will have lightning network, and maybe we will have a ZK rollup or something. We will have many other methods to increase the technology, and I think that won't be a problem. Is this the first class detail? Yes, this is the first class. And in my opinion, I think that the limited of virtual still rests on measures of physical user. What was we get into a point Oh, I mean, the last part, the part three, they are only my opinions. I mean, I'm a kind of a sci-fi guy. I believe in the future, maybe most of us will live inside the virtual world, and in the reality, I mean, in the real world, we will use some liquidity to do the food to replace the food or the drinks or something. I mean that is more likely my personal opinions. They are not correct. I mean they may be wrong, but I think they are interesting. That's why I talk in this topic. Yeah. Smart contract, double spending. Can you explain the following terms? Oh, smart contract. Okay. So smart, inside the nowadays on the internet, when we want to do some programs and we can program that, and that thing will create the applications, right? And for the smart contract, it's the similar, the same thing. They are the computer programs executed in the decentralized world. Smart contract is just like the computer programs on the Ethereum, and that is called smart contract. And double spending is easy to explain. So if when you have $100, you cannot spend the $100 twice. I mean, in the real world, it's very easy because when you spend it, you no longer have that. But in the digital world, banks will spend a lot of money to prevent double spending. For example, you buy something here and you buy something at the same time. On the other hand, how the systems will maintain the services and keep you from double spending will cost them a lot of trust costs. I mean, talking about household financial. Hi, babes. I hope you're still online.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, I try to answer the questions, but I see too many questions. There are 63 questions. I think I have to pick some interesting ones and to do some general answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe answer more questions on Discord.
Okay, sure, sure. I will go back to Discord when I finish this topic. Hmm. What is that? In recent times, we have seen all change high transaction. Okay, this one is understand. It's answered. Artificial intelligence is another picture. Is there a relationship between blockchain and AI? So, what I understand is, based on from my point of view, or I said, so blockchain is more likely like a trusted infrastructure in the future. So AI is more like artificial intelligence that can collaborate with human and can help us to reach some goals. But but blockchain is the basic infrastructure in the future world because blockchain need to maintain the consensus of all the people and all the nodes. information synchronization. Can we also say data sharing or
Ocean?
other? Hello, hello.
Ocean? Yeah. Are you okay with me just allowing one or two persons to ask the question live? Then you answer live. Is that
Oh,
fine?
two more questions, then I finish all the webinar, right?
All right. All right, great.
Okay.
So, hi guys. I know some people hands are up, so I'm just gonna allow one or two persons to speak. So Sean Omole, sorry, Stella Dindi, you're allowed to talk. Go ahead.
Hello, hello, gentlemen. How
Hello,
are you?
hello.
Now, I'd like to know for someone who's learning software development in short courses. I don't have a background in computer science, but I'm joining it, and I'm currently studying front end web development. So, what other language or program would you advise for me to take to fit in blockchain or smart contracts?
Okay, so I think you come from the front end development, right? So maybe you are
Yes,
familiar with HTML,
yes,
CSS, and JavaScript,
yes,
and a Node
yes,
or something. Okay, so
yes.
we will talk about Solidity in this course. So I think if you can get some pre-knowledges on Solidity, that will be perfect. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. Huh?
Yeah.
Thanks, Stella.
Okay.
I'm gonna allow Rema Imolame to speak. You go ahead and ask the question.
Hello, Rima.
Oh, hello. Thanks for this opportunity. Uh, I was very, very curious. If, for example, the use of cryptocurrencies are banned in a particular country, does it affect one's capability as a blockchain developer?
Mm, I'm not quite understanding. Would you please repeat it? And maybe the signal is not stable. Yeah.
Okay, I said if cryptocurrencies, the use
Yeah.
of cryptocurrencies in a country has been banned, does it affect one as a blockchain developer going into DeFi,
Oh, no, I don't
decentralized
think,
finance?
yeah, I don't think that will stop the blockchain developers because they banned the currencies. That means you cannot use that to buy something, but they cannot stop you to code. I mean, you can code on the internet, and that is kind of the experiment gas, right? That is kind of the materials you need to build and to spend on depth. And I think that they cannot ban from you to do some experiment and to do some coding. That sounds not correct. I mean,
All right, thank you.
hi, thank you.
All right, great. Are you open to two more questions? Two last questions, Lucia?
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can accept tomorrow. Yeah.
All right, great. All right, I'm gonna allow Dominique Abel to speak. You go ahead, Dominique. Hi, Dominique.
Hi,
Hello.
please, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Dominique. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Dominic. Please, I want to know, currently in my country, there's a set rule concerning cryptocurrency
Mm-hmm.
and the banking system.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to understand, can we do without banking system? How do we do that? Can transaction be done? Can smart change programs create an avenue whereby we can do physical transaction without going through the banking system, please?
So based on my understanding, I mean, both Bitcoins and Ethereum, they have their own values and prices nowadays. And if someone accepts that, maybe you can use smart contract or you can use blockchains to transfer your Ethereums to them without your national banking systems. But if the only thing is they accept that, yeah.
All
Mm-hmm.
right. I'm gonna allow one more person to speak. Who's a lucky person? A lot of hands are raised here. So, let me allow Innocent Chukwemeka to go ahead. and speak. Hi, Innocent.
Hello, Innocent.
Hi, Innocent. All right. I think you're mute. Maybe I'll just disable you and allow somebody else to speak. Paul Williams. You can go ahead. Paul Williams.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, good morning. Good morning there. I have a question about NFT art. You mentioned it earlier.
About what?
NFT, non-fungible tokens, digital art.
Okay.
Okay. I'm asking, I understand that you as a digital artist, you create art from scratch and then you publish it on a blockchain and turn it into digital art, into NFT. So my question is it allowed to have an existing art piece with the whole evidence that you created it yourself and just scan it into the system and then convert it um, to an NFT that can be sold on either variable or OpenSea? Is it allowed?
Hi, babes. Can you hear the voice clearly? I think it's a little bit noisy.
Paul, your audio isn't clear at all. But I think he was asking about NFTs, but I didn't pretty much hear the other part. So maybe
how about now? Can you hear me properly? Can you hear me properly now?
And just talk to the phone.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, babes, but still noisy for Paul. Yeah.
All right, I disconnected the earpiece. How about now?
Okay, this one is correct. Yeah, better.
My question is, am I still on? My question is, if I want to create an NFT, for instance, and I don't want to do it, I don't want to create a digital art piece. I just want to, I have an existing artwork since I'm an artist, and I just want to scan it into the system and mint it as an NFT, non-fungible token. Is that allowed? That can be sold on Rarible and OpenSeas?
I think that one is allowed. Yeah, I think that one is allowed nowadays. But based on the explanation on OpenSea, maybe they have their own regulations. But I mean, on the Ethereum, everything is open. You can mint your own NFTs and you can use your own crypto arts and you can protect your rights to sell. But maybe each market have their own permissions to justify if that artwork is original created by the artist or something. Because this is an interesting topic. We discussed this one many times last year, and what we get out is that in the decentralized world, everything is not built up yet, and there sometimes they do not have very clear regulations to justify if that work is yours or someone else, or if you are be able to do some things by your own. But actually on Ethereum, you can do it now. I mean, everything is open source and you are free in the decentralized world. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, great. Mushan, I think that's all we can take, right? Or do you want to go more to answer that question?
Okay, if you want, I can answer more questions. I mean, we have 2 hours, and yeah.
All right, great. So I'll allow Alex Vincent to speak. Alex, you go ahead. Let's keep our questions short and straight to the point. Hi, Alex.
Hello.
Alex is not here.
Okay.
Yeah, so let me just allow the Toyosi Bakari. Hi, Toyosi. You're mute. Can unmute yourself.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Hello. Yeah. We can hear.
Yeah.
We can hear. All right. A very great presentation. I really enjoyed it. And this is my first time attending the boot camp also. I've started learning blockchain development for over 6 months, and I'm really loving what I'm getting. I even just developed my own blockchain, my own smart contract about exactly about Tarify, but it's working fine. So my question is, we have seen a lot of features and opportunities and even innovative ideas about the blockchain. And blockchain is bringing a lot of innovative skills into the world, most importantly to the financial system. Like it is prone to work and the decentralization. But why do some countries restrict their citizens from trading or participating in blockchain system rather than banks? Because we know that blockchain is just trying to advance the financial system. The banks, just like the chart you showed us, the bank is 1.0, the internet banking is 2.0, and the DeFi is 3.0, which means it's like an upgrade in bank. But why do some countries restrict that from happening?
So based on my understanding,
understanding.
I think we can mute. Okay. Sorry. I will answer the questions because there are some noise come out. So based on my understandings, so maybe some countries they want to how to say that they
Go
want to
ahead, Sam.
set as an observer and they want to controls the money and the financial system is clear and healthy. So for some trading on the blockchain, they may connect to some money laundries or some bad things, and they think that maybe they cannot control that, and that's why they first stop it, and they want to set up new regulations to make the whole system to be clear. I mean, maybe that's why. Yeah. Okay.
All right, Sam. So let us take the last two right now, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
then we'll be
Last
able
one.
to.
Okay. Good with
All
you.
right, great. All right, great. I'm gonna allow Ibe Aroa to talk. Please go ahead, unmute yourself, and straight to the question.
Okay. Good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Ibe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hello.
go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Nice lecture. I really enjoyed it. But just like the last person asked, currently in my country, we can't trade with our local currency, and that restriction, we are afraid, might affect our viability in the crypto world currently. So we are like, okay, let's see how we can be able to avert that by creating a parallel solution that will allow the youth, or there are so many businesses that depends on crypto right now. So we are trying to see how we can be able to create a solution um, that will take that burden away, where like aggregating payment with maybe create a DApp, a decentralized app that can aggregate payment from local system back to the crypto wallet. So my question is there a service using smart contract where it will allow us to develop apps that will use smart contracts to connect our local financial services, like maybe I have a Visa card now. With my app, I can transfer money to a foreign currency, since trading is not prohibited with dollar or yen or any other currency, but just naira. So I could use my app, establish a smart contract with an aggregator that will set my local payment system and local payment currency, and then use smart contracts again to lodge that money in my crypto wallet. Is there a service that can bridge that gap between using smart contract to do that services, so that we don't bother about the restrictions?
From my point of view, so different countries have different restrictions and regulations. That is, I mean, that is very regular, and you can follow the local restrictions, but what you can do is, you are free to code. You can code on Robson or Ring-B. They are testnet on Ethereum. Even they do not allow you to do some transactions. Maybe I'm not sure to do some trading, but they still can code. The code is free. I mean, you can write programs, you can write Solidities, and you can use Solidity to create your own wallet on Ethereum. That one is free for all the coder in the decentralized world. Yeah, but you still need to follow the restrictions or different regulations in different countries.
Yeah, I'm asking, is there a way, like a service that can provide that smart contract service that we can connect to, that will bridge the gap? Then we know we can write code, but we want to render a service that can decentralize that trading restriction from Nigerian regulations, where the app will allow people trade using a different parallel means of payment that is not Naira, maybe dollar or yen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a one come from the law side. I'm not sure if that one is allowed or okay. But I mean, I'm a CS person. I mean, from the technical part is okay, but I'm not sure if from the law side is okay. Yeah, that's the answer.
All right. And
Yeah.
eBay,
Okay.
to answer you, I think you saved most of your questions for Chuta. Chuta is Nigerian. I see that the conversations or the questions now is just centered around the CBN ban yesterday, right? So there are other people here, other countries here on the platform, right? So let's just pipe it down a bit, right? And save it for Chuta, right? So one last question we'll see before we go. I think I'm going to check out someone from that is not Nigerian.
Okay.
In Kululeku, Sudenzi, you can go ahead and talk, please. I hope I didn't murder your name.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hello. Yeah, go ahead.
No. Thanks for the lecture, man. We learned a lot today. Yeah, and thanks for the opportunity as well, guys. Yeah, I wanted to ask, is it possible to get the notes of everything that you taught today?
Sure. I will agree. I will give the PowerPoint to Babes, and you can publish on Discord or something. They are free. Yeah.
Okay. No, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah. Oh, easy question.
All right, great. That's all the questions for today, guys. So I think that's it's a wrap. It's a wrap today, Wushan. Thanks for coming today. I don't know if you want to close from your end.
Okay.
But it's all good from my side.
Okay. Bye. Thank you all.